G'day mate, any plans for this arvo? You don't know what arvo means? Alright, how about I teach you how to speak Australian English or Australian, and I'll teach you some slang words. Does it sound interesting to you? If so, let's get going. I lived in Australia for about 2 years and people there speak completely differently. Some people like Australian English, some people don't like Australian accent. People outside Australia don't really understand what they're saying. I personally think that Australian accent is one of the most interesting accents in the world and one of the most difficult accents to imitate. As a founder of School of Accents and Pronunciation, I believe that every accent is perfect. Every person sounds perfect. It doesn't matter if you're a native speaker or not, your accent is great. But if you want to improve your English a bit and sound a bit closer to native speakers and have that neutral accent, or maybe RP or British English or Australian English, then this is the right place for you. We'll teach you how to get rid of an accent, we'll teach you how to pronounce words properly, and so on. Yeah, so in this video today, I'll be teaching you how to sound like an Australian. So if you want to speak like an Australian, like a truly Aussie, then these are my 7 tips for you. And at the end of the video, I have one more special bonus tip. So keep watching till the end of the video. First of all, let's clarify the Australian accent. So basically there are 3 main types of Australian accent: cultivated, general, and broad. So cultivated accent is very similar to English posh accent, as historically it has English impact. Whereas broad accent is very nasal and spoken with prolonged vowel sounds. And general Australian accent is something in between these 2 accents if you look at it in a spectrum. So today I'll be teaching you how to sound like an Australian who speaks general or broad Australian English. Tip number 1 is very important. You have to be nasal. Alright? So instead of saying hello, you should say hello, alright? So use that voice, be nasal in every single word, alright? Remember, hello. Tip number 2, try to use the word mate after every second word. G'day mate, how you going mate? All G mate, having a barbie mate? Yeah mate. Tip number 3, forget about I's. Replace them with oi. Nice, mice, price, and so on would be noise, moise, proise. And the words 9 would be noin, fight would be foit, and so on, alright? Yeah, that's about right. Never pronounce R. Okay, well, obviously if it's in the beginning of the word or in the middle of the word, you have to pronounce that letter. You have to make that sound R. Okay, but if it's at the end of the word, you just replace it with ah, alright? So instead of saying car, say car. Hey, that's my car, mate. Tip number 5, in Australian English, L letter is a bit different. So L is pronounced a bit differently. So the words kill, pill, still would be kill, pill, still. Okay, so it's transformed a bit. I'd say it's a bit distorted and it's sort of in between U and L. It's not that clear L, but it's in between U and L. So cool, pool, principle, vowel, nasal. number 6, replace the letter A with I. Okay? Tame, name, flame would be time, nime, flime. Alright? The words like day, every day would be die, every die. Tip number 7 is about O sounds. So there are 2 cases when we use O sounds. That is double O or single O. In the case of a single O, Australians pronounce that a bit differently. So instead of saying so, they'd say so. Instead of saying no, that would be no. Alright? I hope you got it. And when it comes to double O's, it gets even worse, I'd say. So the word pool would be pool, school would be school, alright? So double O would be U, U. And bonus tip for all of you, which actually is one of the very important parts of Australian accent, and by that you can define if the person is an Australian speaker or somebody else. So it is about intonations or inflections at the end of the words, at the end of the sentences, I'd say. Every word at the end of the sentence is a bit raised up. So it sounds like a question, but it could be a statement as well. It's called uptalk. For example, if I read this text in my own accent, I'd read it this way. Australia is a sovereign country comprising the mainland of the Australian continent, the islands of Tasmania, and numerous of smaller islands. And if I read this in Australian accent, that would be this. Australia is a sovereign country comprising of the mainland of the Australian continent, the island of Tasmania, and the numerous of small islands. When it comes to questions and answers, you might hear a conversation like, hey, how you going, mate? Yeah, not bad, mate. What are you up to, mate? Yeah, having a barbie, mate. What did you study, mate? I studied psychology. You know? So you can't really know if that's a question or a statement. Also, Australians really like to say yeah, nah, or nah, yeah, or they can say nah, yeah, nah, or yeah, nah, yeah. That could be really confusing, but I think that Russian-speaking population really find it easy because they also have that in their own language, which is yes, no, or yes, no, props. So for an English-speaking person who is learning Russian language, that's really confusing if it's yes, no, or probably. Alright, so let's talk about some slang words. There are so many slang words, estimated 2,500 Australian words, and I wouldn't be telling you all of that, so I'll give you just some of them. So Australians tend to shorten every word which is possible to be shortened. So arvo means afternoon, servo means service station, petty, or in Australian accent that would be petty, which is a petrol, dunny is a toilet, chewy is a chewing gum, and so on. There are so many other words. You can Google it if you like. You can look it up on the internet. Also, in Australian English, the water would be water, which is very interesting. I have an entire video for that. You can check it on my YouTube channel. So these were my 7 tips plus the bonus tip, how to speak like an Australian. I hope you liked the video. Smash that like button, leave a comment, share, subscribe, and please guys note that these were only 3 main accents in Australia. There are so many other types of accents, warg, mixed types of accents, bogan accents, and I couldn't cover them all in one video. So thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.